All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Game number 3 in this first best of 5. Spawning here in the top, well, the northern location. It's going to be Fnatic's only Protoss member. It's the blue Protoss Harstem.
Bottom position as the red Terran, it's EG's XenoCider.
Now, we are back on the North American server again. This will be happening a lot today, guys, where we bounce from one server to another just to keep it as fair as we can. You know, play the away game, play the home game, and all that. But Harstem does lead 2-0. This is going to be kind of tough for XenoCider. Like I mentioned before we got into this cast, I don't know if XenoCider really did his homework or not for the series, but I mean, Harstem is the macro guy. He's the one who's going to beat you when it comes to the 15 to 20-minute long game every single time. So I think if XenoCider starts doing Widowmine drops, if we start to see him do something a little bit more cheeky, a little bit more cheesy, maybe he finds his way back into the game. But I don't think he takes Van Eye Research Station if he goes to a macro game, and this is his last life.
Yeah, no losers group or anything like that. This is it.
And, you know, I've considered kind of trying to think about, like, okay, if we get to this point, like, have 4 groups become 2 groups into 1 group, and I'm like, no, that's too many groups. I'd be grouped out.
That's correct.
I do wish there was a way we could set that up, though, because it would. It does suck. There is. You're right. No losers bracket at this point. No second life. It's just one best of 5 in the round of 8.
I think it's fair enough, except for the people that are down 2-0.
Yeah, for XenoCider right now, like maybe before the series he didn't care, but now he's like, yeah, I wish I had a second chance.
Yeah, exactly. But XenoCider is opening up a little bit differently. He is going to go ahead and open up with that Reaper. And then I think, as long as he stays on gas, he actually is going to go for the Widowmine drop.
I would really like to see it, because, I mean, thinking back to the group stage matches, those were the games XenoCider almost always won, when it, you know, especially against Saravati when he was bringing out those Widowmine drops. And the games he lost are the ones where he tried to play super macro against, like, Minigun. That being said, though, he might also just be assuming Harstem is good enough to deal with the Widowmine drops. That luck won't be on his side, because sometimes that is a big portion of the Widowmine drop itself. But, you know, Harstem's been pretty quick to that robo every game, even when he goes for the Twilight Council. So XenoCider probably wouldn't be able to get away with the devastating Widowmines.
Yeah, but you know, the other option on this map specifically is to go for just like actually pure macro rather. Since there's only one ramp, the quick sentry warp in, just being choked in as you funneled in as you are on one ramp, it's not the greatest for going in for those you know, the big army, like a lot of Marines, Marauder pushes, stuff like that. So it is going to be that Widowmine drop, or I mean, maybe Hellions again. For some reason, we see a lot on in-house, in-base expansions. We still see a lot of like 10 pools, Hellions, and it's like one force field to deal with that.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put it past XenoCider if he wants to go for the 2 Hellions to run by initially, but I think for the most part, Widowmine seem to be the best course of action.
Well, it's the one that was most effective when he did it in the last group, so that's what I'm thinking. Now, Harstem, he was pretty quick on that robo, yeah. So he shouldn't be in any trouble after this blink opener, unless it's the one time he actually chooses to actually really go into the blink opener, but I don't think so.
Well, actually, that'll probably be XenoCider's best luck, best chance. You know, if Harstem goes for blink, it is going to offset his robo. It'll mean that he won't necessarily have detection out. This is where the Widowmines might be the kingmakers, but there we go. Oh, he's going to see that blink, and XenoCider's going to be just like, yes, fist pump, you know? I got a chance. I got a shot, like a real opportunity to make this work. The problem for the follow-up, though, is... Oh, nice snipe on the probe, but at least the Reaper. It doesn't take detection to shut down a Widowmine drop, either. You can, if you position correctly, if you pull all your probes, but intentionally leave one behind, I mean, you're going to force the shot on the Widowmine, and it will go off on almost nothing. Yeah.
That's the problem. Like, you might be thinking like, oh great, it doesn't have detection, and that might be true for the next, you know, 40 seconds to a minute, but you know, they've gotten really good at only pulling one probe, timing out the Widowmine, not stacking up like a dummy and losing all of their Widowmines. So it usually doesn't do a whole lot unless you're doing other things, you know, like really harassing them. I mean, honestly, at this point, I feel like it's not about killing the probes. Obviously, that's the best thing to do. But I actually like it when they start taking down the stalkers, or they get the mothership core with this job.
Pertaining to Oh, type it before game. I'll get you a message on Skype. Don't know if that'll help or not, but anyways, medevac is ferrying over towards the natural base, and there is an observer on the way. I don't know if this walk-up is going to quite cut it, but there are a lot of stalkers waiting. If nothing else, it could be the distraction that he needs, maybe. Hey, look over here, but Harstem pulls immediately. I mean, until they invent a way for the Widowmine to stop fire, this is always going to be an issue. He picks off the Widowmine right away as well. The Marine's going to get a stalker, but that's kind of it. A stalker, maybe two. There we go. The medevac died over here, so the drop is not going to get a whole lot more done.
It is lackluster when it happens like this.
How cool would that be, though, to put like a stop fire mechanism, like, you know, right click to autocast not targeting anything on the Widowmine so it doesn't waste its shot on a probe?
Yeah, that might be a little too much.
I mean, I know Widowmine's already pretty broken, and I'm not trying to say make it better, but it would be cool if they put something to encourage more micro on it. Because right now, the Widowmine is, for all intents and purposes, a real gamble unit. There's a couple folks out there like Jockshi who will actually focus fire with him, or do that thing where you keep retargeting so it doesn't fire, but generally speaking, these are pretty stupid units. As we can see, it goes off on nothing.
Great job, Widowmine.
Yeah, A for effort, but F on execution.
Well, behind this, he is still a macroing, but so is Harstem. Like, Harstem really didn't have any trouble with that. So his third's already, you know, a little bit, actually, they're pretty evenly timed, but it's still like there's no pressure on that third now, not even an attempt to cancel. As the last Mac games have looked, I'm not feeling so great for XenoCider. But Expedition lost, you know, that game did look good until that final moment. And Van Nuys Research Station does have like kind of similar qualities in that drops on the right and attack on the left could still be very good. Like that is quite a big split. But there's no running into the natural, unfortunately, which is a lot of what he did on Expedition Lost.
Well, right now, I still wouldn't say XenoCider is super behind due to the failed drops. It does suck that not a lot has really gotten done by this, but he's heading towards that macro game, and I'm not feeling for him versus Harstem. There's sometimes you just like, you can put all the casting to a side, you get that gut feeling, and you just gotta know how a game's gonna go, and I really feel like it would take a massive mistake out of Harstem to lose the macro game when you are... it's so weird. Like, you look at supplies, you look at worker count, like, he's not really ahead from those drops, but he didn't take any damage from them, and that does set XenoCider back.
I mean, either a massive mistake from Harstem or XenoCider finally being like the aha moment. Like, either one. But I don't know if he has that. He's probably not feeling so great being down 2-0, and if he doesn't figure out, like, he doesn't know exactly like what went wrong in each game, then he could be in a bad place. Double upgrades are on the way much quicker this game for Harstem. I mean, heck, he can get away with it. He's on a pretty safe third base. And XenoCider, did he lose both of those medevacs? I lost one.
I thought he lost... Yeah, he lost two.
So that means that, you know, they didn't go back home and they're not prepping for another drop with this time stimmed bio. So...
It's funny, I didn't actually consider that, you know, normally this double forge is kind of greedy by most standards, but because, yeah, that's his advantage. He bought himself, I guess, through defending quite well. Marine does manage to kill 2 probes, though. Go figure. Now all this guy's got to do is repeat that about 25 more times. Nice.
Yeah, 50 probes, yeah. And it's a nice army from XenoCider. It's pretty good. It's up by 20. You do have a lot of money and gas going into production right now, and all the tech for Harstem. But it seems like XenoCider, you know, is not ready to pressure quite yet, so all of it's going to finish.
This is kind of the problem for Terran, though. I mean, yeah, the supplies look great, but it's all these tier 1 units that are just going to get absolutely wrecked by Colossus, by Storms, by all the late game. Medevac's kind of help bridge the gap. They almost make the Marines a little bit better than, say, like tier 1 in context of things, but the reality is, at the end of the day, you know, Terran doesn't quite have that same unit that a Colossus is. So trading like this can sometimes go well if done correctly, but as we've seen with good control to Harstem that he's displayed all day, it's not going to go well for XenoCider.
Yeah. Not sure what he's looking at to do here. just, I guess, take down a couple Blink Stalkers. He does have Vikings on the way, a lot of Vikings, you know, 4 at a time, as well as those Ghosts. His upgrades are not actually as good as they have been in the last few games. They're not 2-2, they're going to be 2-1.
Man, they need to just straight up rip off Warhammer, make like a tier 3 power armored Terminator type unit, like just something that would be so cool to have. Because Ghosts is so, they can be good. Some folks like Happy have shown us, you know, Ghost Viking is the way, the Church of Ghost Viking, but for the most part, it's just so hard to use them.
Yeah, well, I would actually do fine with the Science Vessel again. That's just me.
Well, we already have EMPs out. I mean, like, what else would the Science Vessel really be used for, though?
I don't know. You have to make it, give it some useful. I mean, I guess it's really like either the Science Vessel and like replace the EMP with something useful, or make the Raven more useful in all situations. You can always have it. What
if you could get like, and hell, this could be like a fusion core upgrade, but something that would let medevacs have the units within them activate, so like Ghost could EMP from within the medevac.
Wow, that sounds totally overpowered.
It's kind of like it's kind of like hanging out the side of the ship, you know? Alright, the engagement does begin. The EMPs are a little bit late to the party, but they do finally start landing. Most of the Zealots are gone. XenoCider's chewed through the bulk of the army, and unlike every other battle he's had, the Vikings are actually killing the Colossus. With this being the case, the Bio will run train over what few stalkers remain, and XenoCider takes a fantastic engagement.
Pretty lucky engagement to have the Vikings over all of those foliage over.
Yeah, the high ground vision. I don't know why Harstem felt pressured. He was setting up pylons. He was starting to get that pressure on that third, but there wasn't a fourth up yet. I don't feel like there was a huge reason to push there. So whatever the case may have been, that may have cost him the game. He's down half the supply, and it's not because he's got Colossus behind this. Storm's not done yet. It's looking like Xeno might just turn this around.
I think so. The Storm is not done. I don't know what those. I guess they're looking for defacts, but that didn't happen. So just morph into a useless Archon. I guess he felt pressured to take an engagement because he didn't want to recall, didn't have a recall, and if he didn't want to have Storm, there's not really a great retreat path for your Colossus.
Well, Colossus on the backside doesn't have anything shooting it. Most of the Marauders are gone now, so the Stalkers are looking better than ever. XenoCider may have overextended himself here. If he gets out with the Vikings and the medevacs, that would be perfect, and he will.
Okay.
In a pretty good spot versus Harstem still, I'd say. This is looking a lot better than it was moments ago. His upgrades, though, lacking. Storm done for this next engagement. But XenoCider took, I think, a big part of that engagement because he did have those EMPs over his opponent. This time around, it's not just EMPs versus nothing. It's prioritizing snipes, it's prioritizing EMPs. There's going to be Archons, of course, but there's also going to be Storms now. And the question is how much Colossus Harstem decides to rededicate to. I'm not sure if XenoCider is going to be willing to burn a scan for that at this point in the game or not, but it is critical to know whether it's 1 Colossus or 7 Colossus, because it really affects what the Viking count looks like. He's starting to go back to medevacs, and I think he knows Storms are going to be the priority, but again, complacency might just get him killed.
He might know that's not double Robo Colossus, which is also a big deal. Only seeing one pop out to help defend in that situation maybe told him that, so... what?
Every time I see a Marauder shoot his out, it's like, okay, it's like Zergling's attacking a rock. Like, it just takes so long to kill.
Yeah.
And it's not even that like the Zealot takes a while to kill. It's just the contrast of how fast a Marauder kills a Stalker compared to how slow a Marauder kills a Zealot. Like it's insane. It's like night and day.
Well, this is kind of another Hall of Death potentially. We see a lot of TVZs where this looks like an amazing position to be in because you kind of have that high ground to your advantage and they just get swamped anyways. So. I don't know if it's as good as it looks. It does go in again, but there are a lot of Storms. They're covering that one single Colossus.
Yeah, cute little snipes to start that off. The problem here, though, is with cannons starting to complete, he's actually had a lot of extra damage, and XenoCider's got to be careful. There we go, does take those out. Since the Ghost attacked the probes, that's got to be a mistake. He will shred most of the Stalkers, though, and there's not that much Storm energy left. In fact, I think that's one of his last 2 Storms. There we go. Vikings in the air are going to try and focus on the Colossus again, but XenoCider might just have too much through the sheer number of units, through the volume of his army value. As he is on level 3 weapon upgrades, starts dealing with the Zealots pretty quickly. As those start dissipating, the Stalkers will certainly fall very quickly. Good game is called, and XenoCider's going to turn this around. He's not going to get 3-0'd. But that does shock me, truthfully. I didn't